Hello everyone and welcome to our circle and Salve Women. Today for my 101, we are going to discuss what it would be like to have peace. And for me, I have 10 that I would consider to be something to dream of, and really looking into the perspective of the actions it would require for us to actually promote and therefore have peace. The first one is caring. Caring is about empathy. And so if we were to have a world of peace, we would really be seeing people walking around wanting to help other people, or putting yourself in other people's shoes and making yourself understand why people walk in the shoes that they are walking in. And really, even if you have never been in those shoes, putting yourself in that situation so that you have no judgment within yourself, and really looking at it from the perspective of the person who is walking in those shoes. And so caring is about really reaching out to others and giving that understanding, even though you have not walked in their lives, but knowing that everyone has lived a life in the path that they are to take, and so that you are wanting to really give them that type of support, that type of existence in their realm, to make sure that they know if anything were to happen, you would be there to give them empathy and perhaps to really give them some care. The second one would be loving. And when we talk about loving, this is not where you just say the words. That word can be so loosely used now these days, where you just say, I love you, I love this, I love that. To be loving is really being in that unconditional state where you say to yourself, you know, this person may not seem perfect in my eyes, and perhaps they may not see me as perfect in their eyes, but we are going to be loving to one another, really having that attitude of, you know, there's no such thing as perfection. Each of us are working toward the masterpiece that we are, and it takes a while. Some of us take longer than the others. Some people, you look at them, you go, they pretty much have got it together, and they are their masterpiece. They have arrived at that becoming, and you can tell that they are comfortable under their flesh. And yet there are some of us who may take a little bit longer. Perhaps there's so much more little crevices to fill in and little corners to smoothen out. And, some of us are a little bit more edgy than others. And so there's a little bit more fine tuning. And so being loving to one another is really understanding that. It's like, okay, let me give you some unconditional state of mind coming from my heart to really see you as someone who is unique, who is special, and who is you, and me doing me, you doing you. We can be really unconditional toward one another in that loving peace. The next one, of course, would then have to do with helping, because you cannot just say, we are caring, we are loving, without wanting to really help. And this can be very difficult for some people to want to help others. And, sometimes because you think that people take it wrong. Unfortunately, sometimes when you come toward people, they have been hurt or bruised in their lives, where they no longer can see anyone approaching them with the understanding or the mindset that they are out there to help. But when you really tithe in that manner of helping someone, this is you dedicating your time, your talent, and your treasure. And so it could be that you may need to give someone a few dollars here and there to help them get to the next level. It may be that you are sharing your God-given talent, so precious to you, and you may not even realize that there's so many out there that you could be helping to pass on whatever uniqueness, whatever individuality, whatever strength, whatever it is that you may think is so easy, because that is your talent, to then be able to help empower other people who may need that, may need it from you. And then, of course, your time, because whether you have your treasure or your talent, if you are not able to give your time, that right there is the most precious sacrifice we all have to contemplate at times. So again, being able to help, helping would be the third one. The next one, number 4, would be generating. When we are generating, we are producing wealth and abundance for all. We are not just about ourselves and saying, okay, I want it for myself. Now, of course, just like you're on an airplane, you have to put your mask on first. You have to help save yourself first, because you are going to end up then being in trouble yourself if you are not in that capability, in that status to be able to help others. So of course you are striving to make sure that you are in that abundance yourself. And so there should be no guilt on your part if you are striving for that abundance. However, once you are there, then you go, okay, how did I get here? What was my path? And you know, I remember Derek Jeter used to say, you have a little, you give a little. And so for those of you who, Yankee baseball player, but anyway, it really is just an understanding of being able to give what you can. And, you know, it goes along with that caring, that loving, and that helping. But generating is beautiful, because once you leave this world, you are generating that, you're planting that seed to go through so many generations. And they may not know you by name. They might not even know that you were the one who created that or planted that seed. But that's the beauty about your legacy, is that sometimes people may not know it, but they will have it in here. They will have it in here, and then they will have it here. They have planted it within themselves to be empowered by whatever it was that you enacted from maybe a long time ago. So it's so important to understand that when you are generating, I really believe that's what they mean by generational, right? It's something that you have planted, and it will continue to be fruitful throughout the years because of your abundance that you have started. So keep that in mind when it comes to generating. The next one then is multiplying. We all know it. You know, you plant one seed, then you go, oh my gosh, from one seed I have so much that have multiplied. Absolutely. And it only takes for you to really create that, and to really, you know, just go ahead and sow that into the soil and water it and put some sunshine and pure light into that, whatever light you've got that day, and then watch it multiply. And so think about each and every one of us being able to do that, and really thinking through about what is so important about multiplying. Because when you can share it, when you can share your abundance, when you have generated that for everyone to be able to see, it feels great to look around and go, wow, you know, maybe they don't even know it, but I kind of started that seed, and it's just a good feeling on the inside to know it. And so think about it, that when you multiply, once again, it started with you. The next one, going into a different light, is surrendering. You know, many wars have come to a point where someone eventually did surrender because maybe they were too tired. But when there is no battle to begin with, to start with, and you know that you are victorious, that you have already won, that you have been so blessed and all is well, in a world of peace, surrendering just means you're at rest, that you no longer have to have your bow and arrow and, you know, any type of weapons up, that you can just start to sit back and enjoy the harvest. And that is what we mean here by surrendering, is be at rest. And that is that peace of mind to go, okay, I can sleep with the windows open. I can sleep with, you know, the doors unlocked. I'm surrendering to this feeling of peace. The next one is apologizing. Again, all of these, right? Promoting peace. When you apologize, it's not because sometimes you are wrong. It's just because you know you could get it right. And every day you wake up, go, I'm going to get it right, I'm going to get it right, I'm going to get it right. And even if you are the most right in all around you, and everyone goes, man, this person can do no wrong, you know, that is that mentality, that peaceful mentality to go, but I can be the first to apologize, because it really doesn't do any harm. It's not to say that you're walking around being a sorry person. That's a different mentality, right? Being able to free yourself to then be able to be apologizing at moments where it just creates peace. If you are the first person to go, you know, my bad, my fault, I'm sorry. I used to apologize when people would step on my toes. I'm not kidding you. Growing up, and I would tell this to my students and say to them, you know, it's funny, I didn't realize it, but I always felt like it took away any harm from the person that they may have felt to have stepped on my toes. And there was one really tough one. This woman was wearing stilettos, but you know, it's like, it's okay. You have to give yourself that peace. By apologizing, it's giving that strength within yourself to let go and be forgiving. And that is promoting peace within yourself. And not only that, but by giving that other person that side of you to see that, wow, they have so much power within them to not even bring this to a different level or escalate it. This is a very peaceful person. And so you, again, are planting that and spreading that type of energy. Next one is admitting. This would be number 8. I realized I wasn't numbering those. This is number 8. Admitting is having no fear. When you get to that admission, right, you are really putting yourself into that realm, that idea that you are not afraid, that you can admit to anything. You know, okay, I was wrong. Okay, this, you know, I should have done it this way. And, you know, I could have gotten your help and so forth. Again, it's this peace within yourself to admit whether you're right or wrong. It is really more of that strength within you to go, I don't have to be afraid. I can just be admitting to whatever it is that you may see as a fault coming from your perspective. Everyone has a different vantage point, and sometimes people want you to be the one to admit first so that it empowers them to go, oh, I was wrong too. You know, who's the stronger, right? It really, you have to look at it from that perspective. I think sometimes when we have this defined within us, it's because it's also that pride to go, I don't want to be the first one to admit. I don't want to be the first one to admit to anything that I've done, because then if that person, you know, looks at me after I've admitted to anything, then they may think that they are better than me, or whatever the circumstance or whatever it is that we may be feeling when we don't want to admit to whatever it is that could just promote peace. Okay? All right, so I took that direction instead of this direction. Help me out. You know, really empowering even someone you may deem as your opponent or your opposition. You could really be that stronghold to promote the peace. And the next one, number 9, is then trusting, because we get it. To be, you know, admitting that trust is a big deal, because then now, okay, I'm getting myself to admit, and then you're kind of waiting back and going, wait, what are you going to admit to? And so you have to trust the fact that maybe sometimes people aren't wanting to admit to anything that you would have hoped that they admitted to, but give them time and trust that time will work itself through. And you're already the bigger person by having that stance to be able to, you know, promote that peace first. And so that being trusting is really that idea of, I'm going to give myself the peace, because I'm not going to worry about your condition of your heart, your mind, and your spirit. I'm going to make sure that I work on me and focus on me in being able to just give myself the calmness that I need within my soul, within my spirit, within my heart and my mind, to say to myself, I trust you. I trust that you wouldn't do me wrong. I trust that all of this will come out right and it all will be well. And the next and last one would then finally be believing, in hope in all. All of this coming together from number 1, caring, number 2, loving, number 3, helping, number 4, generating, number 5, multiplying, number 6, surrendering, number 7, apologizing, number 8, admitting, number 9, trusting, and then finally believing. When we have that sensibility to believe in one another, that is that message to someone else that I know you're working on you. I'm working on myself too. And it is okay for both of us to believe in each other, to have that faith for one another, to have that hope for one another, that we'll eventually get it right. And you could really empower others by saying, you're already on that right direction. I know you are. I know you're working on you. Let's work on ourselves together, and we will help to keep believing each other that we're going to get to that goodness. That is that peace that you have to think about in everybody's soul, to give them that confidence to say, I'm pushing for you, I'm rooting for you, I know you can do it. You know what? You're not that far away. And in your mind, you could be thinking, whoa, they've got a lot of work. But you don't have to tell them that. You have to envision what you see, what in them, that they have the potential to become. Because you would hope that anyone who looks at you has that same mindset, has that same vision for you, that they see you where you would like to be, or they know you could be. And it's amazing the things that you can plant in being an educator, being a parent. Sometimes you will see children who don't believe in the things you say. I have said so many things to students that still to this day I go, gosh, I hope that will have entered into their spirit for them to take on, no matter what their path has taken them through, that they'll eventually get there and go, wow, I can't remember the teacher's name. Doesn't matter. I can't remember when my mom said this to me. That doesn't matter. It's the fact that it's there, and when they believed it and they became about it, not only did they become about it, but then they were able to help generate that for years to come for others, and they learned to, give other people the belief. You started that. So my message for today, really honestly, is when we promote peace, know that you have the power to start that on your own. You are the seed. You really, truly are. And we know life is hard. I am not sitting here saying that all those 10 components I withhold and I am so, perfect in any way or form. Absolutely not. But we can all believe in each other, and we can all have that faith in each other to say, you know what? We can do this. We really can. And yes, I know it's that dark and light, that yin and the yang. It's really that balance. If there's no fire, there are no firefighters. If there's no need for learning, there'd be no teachers. If there's no sickness, there'd be no need for doctors and so forth. But when we talk about peace, it is really the mindset of the soul and the heart and the spirit of knowing that we could be within that realm of really pushing each other to just go, okay, we're going to use each other for our skills, and really depend on each other for when we need each other. But we can learn to respect each other for the love of peace. In the words of my mother, God bless us all. I hope something got to you today, just to go, wow, I have the power within me to really do something in promoting peace, no matter how little. You really don't realize how big it is. Plant that seed if you haven't already. Plant another seed if you've planted many. Keep watering. Keep being the sunshine no matter what. You've got it. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next time.